product cost, unexpected cost in the total. Total is just is the total of these two. It's just an add up, an add of a total for these two columns. Product cost is, and actually this is this difference is described here in the info tab. If we go to the info tab, we see this difference here about extra cost and unexpected cost. So besides the product cost included into the PO and invoice documents, there are other costs related to the supply of certain items or of a certain item define an extra cost. Those extra costs could be expected when the item is ordered, and they are commonly included in the PO. For example, administrative charges, other transportation fees, and other logistic materials. So these extra costs that are extra to the main item, for administrative charges, for example, when they are expected, they include it in the PO. But there's sometimes that there are costs that are unexpected. So those are added in the invoice as a total without any description. So the invoice have a specific field in the form in SAP to upload some amount of money for unexpected costs. So those unexpected costs are not part of the PO at all, but they go to a procurement workflow for approvals. But this is just an amount. It doesn't have any description or any categorization or nothing. So those are unexpected costs, extra costs. So going back to the invoice tab, so that's why we got two columns: the product cost, which should match with the PO, and the unexpected cost that are these. This is the extra amount of money that is included in an invoice. So that's why these two columns, this is the total, is summarizing this total. And of course it has its own table here, so users can extract the information, and it has all the fields available in our main table. So it was an overview of what it is, what we saw in our previous sessions. So we saw in our previous session, we saw these two tables, and MSEG and RSEG. So MSEG is for good receipts. It's the table for movements, but it's filtered by the good receipts. And the second table, the RSEG, is for invoices. So we saw queries are quite similar. Kind of has the same filters to work with the same level of information, the same materials, the same services, with different fields of each table, but the basis is the same. So this table for GRs, we saw that one of the most fields, and we discussed it previous it has the kind of logic that we discussed this about this field, that its purpose is to group the spend into these categories just for evaluate them correctly. So it has to take all the descriptions. It follows not just one rule, but has more than one to try to categorize categorize items correctly. So this is a work in progress. We get a lot of good progress with the whole team. We in the Parm in the Parm area. Um, we got very good experts in all the subjects about. For example, there is an expert about the scavengers that is working in this category to try to identify all the scavengers so we can have the right amount of materials or the right materials identified as scavengers in the dashboard. So during this time we confirmed some of the categories according to the total values. We have confirmed plastic, for example. We have confirmed fixed bed catalyst and process catalyst. We have confirmed acids, nitrogen. We have confirmed methanol. There's a lot of categories that we have confirmed until now. So this is a work in progress. That is the message. So about the rules, we saw that the rules could be the common rule is to identify or group these these categories by the material description, the PO description. I'm sorry, by the PO description. So, for example, if the description contains the word scav or contain this scavenger uh, or keyword or discontinue MEA or any of these keywords, it should be categorized as a scavenger. Other rule is about its material group because we have identified that the entire material group is, for example, packing in this. So all these material groups should be categorized as packing. Of course, if these rules has or follow a specific order, um, so if the order is changed, it could be affect the results of the query of this logic of this categorization. So take care of having the same order, or consider the order before changing it. That's why, because of the complex of or the of the size of the category of the grouping scope of the material groups, because of that we could have these scenarios of we got these rules for nitrogen and then we follow with oxygen in the middle and we got a second part of the nitrogen, this is because we have this word first, and we know that oxygen is for oxygen, um, but there are some purchase order description with oxygen H2 and N2, and we identify that everything that has oxygen first should be oxygen, not nitrogen. So that's why there is an oxygen in the middle before continuing with this N2 rule. That's why you could see nitrogen in a second part of the same group. That happened with oxygen as well, for example here, but kind of something that we thought it was the best way to do. So that is what we saw in our previous sessions. So today we're gonna discuss a little bit about the exchange rate problem, because I remember there was a question last session about it. So the exchange rate is the table that's extracted from servers about the exchange rates. So I have all exchange rates here. So from for the first currency, from currency, and I got all the currencies are here, and the two currency is USD, so everything is converted to USD, and this is the exchange rate. But as we discussed in our previous session, we got some mistakes from the server. Not sure if the users manage this wrong, or it is kind of incorrectly set up in the server backup. Not sure about it, but there is a mistake. So there is kind of the opposite way to in some of the currencies. The mistake is that some of the currencies has an opposite way to calculate exchange rate, because it's not the same that saying from currency AED to USD than saying USD to AED, right? So it would be the opposite. So in some cases, it doesn't follow this order, but kind of change it to say, for example, USD AED, AED, yeah. So what I did in that with those scenarios, if we go to the exchange rate, what I did in those scenarios was to identify with these rules the currencies that have some that mistake, and kind of change the way it's calculated to evaluate, okay, if we should divide if we should divide the values, or we have to multiply the values. So that is this rule about. I saw as well that some of the currencies has incorrect an incorrect exchange rate in the table. So I added manually. So this is important to mention. For example, this AON currency has an incorrect value in the table, in this exchange rate table. So it has a mistake there. So I kind of corrected by putting it manually here. So this is important to mention. This 1, 2, 3 cases, 4 cases of this ITR, for example, NGN for Nigeria, they are incorrect. So this is the way I calculate exchange rates to convert everything in SAP, everything into US dollars, here in the delivered value USD. So this here, it has a difference about, okay, these currencies, MYR, PGK, or XPF, or these currencies has a mistake of the opposite way to calculate the exchange rate to USD. So I decided to this is the formula that I multiply or divide in this case. Multiply in this case, or divide in this case. Not sure if that was clear enough, so please feel free to interrupt me or ask something. Please do it if you have any questions.
Yeah, Andre. So when you are saying that you are comparing the value of the dollar from that table, so you are getting the data from SAP, that table.
That's right.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
This public exchange rate,
Yeah,
comes from SAP.
SAP. So
Yeah.
how do you get to know that this is the wrong entry they have done there? So you are correcting there. Is client told you about that? The no.
Sorry, what? Sorry, could you repeat the last part?
I'm saying that you are correcting the values. Some values, some currency values are there, na, in the other table. You're correcting it.
Yes.
So how you get to know that the value which you have given from through the SIP is wrong?
Okay. Yes, because because we confirm those values with the experts.
Okay.
In since we confirm it,
Okay.
we told there was a higher values in for some countries.
Okay.
So what we saw is, okay, we come here, for example, material and filter by country. So for some of the countries, we confirm the values with some experts and say, for example, Angola has a very high or very large value.
Yeah.
So I start to confirm all the data and saw that for some of the currencies, the currency was calculated the opposite way, not divided but multiplying. So that's how I kind of identified those currencies.
So according
basically, I had to review it one by one.
Okay. So according to this table, 1 USD is equal to 3.6725 AED. Am I correct?
Yes, you're right.
Okay. Yeah.
You're right.
Got it. Yeah.
So $1 represents is 367.25
AED.
AEDs.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. Thanks.
Yeah. Thank you for that question, Sai.
Yeah.
Or so this is about the action in the US. So this column, the other columns that I calculate here are not quite complex.
Okay.
It follows, for example, this one is business line, so if it's SAP or G3P, put upstream.
Or
and
EMPS.
The others is EMPS.
Yeah.
So it's very easy to understand. These are just kind of concatenates
okay.
or text.
EMPS packing, yeah.
So
Got it.
It is not complex. Yeah, I would like to focus on the kind of the components like this harm, for example. It looks similar than the main category. The main category.
Okay.
Because the main category is for the purpose is to group spend in categories, and the purpose for this Parm column is to filter, is to extract some of cases. So, as I mentioned, the material group list for the main filter applied in the main query.
Okay.
That all the material groups that could contain Parm raw materials or processing aid spent, but everything in the categories would be not raw material or processing aid. So in those material groups, there could be some finished product, or could be some feedstock or something that we got to remove. So this is the purpose of this column, to remove these kind of manually, because we don't have more option to do it manually, to remove those cases that are included in the material groups and try to filter. So this field serves as a manual filter for some specific materials imported by the query that needs to be filtered because this item has been identified as not part. So they will not be showing in the dashboard.
Okay.
Because the dashboard, if we see here in the filter section, all the dashboard is filtered by this category, by this column. So this column is just part, which is the right spend code, are not applicable.
Okay.
So this is filtered by yes.
So if you select the not applicable, what happens when you select not applicable?
When we select not applicable, the amount is kind of higher.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a little bit higher anyway, just.
And what other things comes under the not applicable, if you can show in the filter? Like the query you run.
Sure.
You put now.
Sure. Here. So We identify these scenarios
Okay.
by comparing the data. It's important to mention that uh, all this list of items had been reviewed by experts in in the subject.
Sure.
So by reviewing the list, we have identified these possible exceptions. For example, I tried to organize it to make it easy to understand.
Got it.
So, for example, for acids,
Yeah.
for the category of acids. So, if we go here, we have an acid category.
Sure.
So, for this category of acid, so if the category is acid and the material group is this,
Okay.
so that is not applicable.
Okay.
So that is not applicable. And for example, if the category is acid and the PO description has acid gas tone,
Okay.
this is a Parm, so it is not
Not applicable. Sure.
Same scenario with the other rules. So, for
Yeah.
example, if the category is acid and the material group is this, and the material type is heavies, because heavies are supposed to be the the MRO materials for maintenance. This is not applicable.
Got it.
And same scenario with the other groups: additives, catalysts, caustic, diesels,
Sure.
and all this.
And which are left, they
Yeah.
comes under the palm, sorry.
Arms are the right span.
Okay.
The right span to categorize.
Okay.
So these are all the exceptions, and at the final, at the kind of the if not,
Okay.
it's kind of not sure if I'm clear enough with this, but this is a switch
Yeah.
clause
Sure.
that kind of works as an if statement. So in the negative part of the statement is okay, the other are Parm.
Okay.
So meaning that they are the right span to show.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
Yep.
Andres, I have a question.
Yeah.
From where we get this list? Like this will not come in the palm, these materials.
You said where does this come from?
Yes, yes.
But you said the list of materials in the table, or you said
I mean, like we are adding these conditions, right?
yeah.
So,
The conditions.
Yeah, yeah. Like these
Ah,
are
the
not
con-
applicable. From where we get this information?
Okay, understand. Thank you for that question. Very good. So as I mentioned, this is a result of a review with some experts. So by executing that review, we reviewed. So the question is what we did review. So we reviewed this list with kind of review category by category. So we filter by acids, for example. So we extract this list of acids and review item by item. Say, okay, what about this hydrogen? This is an acid or not? Okay, and we identify that some of them are not raw materials of processing aids. So that's how we got to this kind of list. Because when we review acids, we realized that for this category, this material group is not that's not applicable, and that's the same thing with the other categories. So the answer is by reviewing them one by one. It was a very large work.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's incredible, and actually, it's in progress. So you could have one or some of requests, or kind of add more exceptions, or maybe categorize some items in a different way here with this main category filter. For example, I will give you one example, taking the opportunity here. For example, I have this request by Chris Campion, that is one of our experts, and say, hey, Camilo, could you please categorize the Novan ink vendor spend at current scavenger as a scavenger? So he confirmed this spend with the business line for in Canada with the falls of curl, and he confirmed that everything is a scavenger. Scavenger is one of our categories
Okay.
here. So he requested that. Here is the scavenger. But we gotta have kind of a strategic way of thinking, because I need to discuss kind of this with Chris, because we usually don't follow a rule of, okay, categorized by vendor. So everything in this vendor is an scavenger. I don't do it because this vendor. What about if this vendor tomorrow offered a different kind of material? So I kind of destroy the rule. So I usually don't do it by vendor. I usually do it by description. So for example, all of the description that were provided were provided um, follow this neutral gas. You realize that neutral gas? So is because the product neutral gas is an scavenger. So the right way to create the rule here is for neutral gas. Is using the neutral gas in here. So I would do it. I would copy here a rule and put a new one for neutral gas. So I would add a new one for the word neutral gas. You know?
Okay.
Yeah. So this is an example of how I would do it. So yeah. Do you have any more questions about this Parm column?
No.
Perfect. Perfect, guys. I think the other columns are not quite complex. For example, this is a country name. Has a just bring the country name from a different table that is extracted in the queries from SAP. So there's no other columns with a higher complexity. So the complexity it, change rate, the complexity about how we group the spend in this main category, and the complexity is about how we filter only some of the spend that is not raw material or processing aid spend. So yeah, I think this is it about the code. This other table, this query RSEG, has a very similar logic. It's similar, except for the extra costs, this unexpected delivery value, this extra cost value. So these are different. But for example, for exchange rates, here has the same logic than we saw before. And for the material group, the grouping of the main category, it would be the same here. It follows the same rules, so I always copy paste the rules. And so each rule that I put or that I include in this MSEG, I included in the RSEG as well in the same column. It will be a copy paste of the rule, and follows the same with Parm. So I include the same rules. in these two tables. So we make sure that these two tables have the same categorization and follow the same rules. Um, I think this is it about the code. Yeah, not sure if you have any more questions about it. Yeah, we haven't seen the relationships in the table,
Yeah, sure.
but these kind of are not. I don't think they're complex. We got these tables in the entire file. So the ones that say PUB at the beginning comes from SAP and the queries in these two. So we saw, for example, this table is for countries, so it comes from SAP. These public 163Y, I think is a type of PO. Could be that. This other is a description of the material group masters. And these are for kind of, I think it's company code description, don't remember well. And these are the main tables, the MSEG and the RSEG. This calendar is calculated, so the dimension of calendar is calculated using Power BI formulas. If we go here, for example, to the calendar, is calculated by this logic in Power BI in DAX. So it provides these dates according to the first and last year that is included in this table. So this is how the logic works. So this is a calculated table, and basically this is the relationships. All of these come into these fact tables, which is the movements, the goods receipts, and the invoices. I'm not sure if you have any question here.
No, Andres.
No, perfect.
No questions.
Yeah. So in the last 15 minutes, so this is about word logic and how it works. So in the 15 minutes that we have left, I would like to discuss the location. So
Sure.
location, I got this location available because this is a folder that I was given in one specific moment, but I don't know if that is the right location to use. Not sure about it, to be honest. And the idea is to set up an automatic refresh for the dashboard at least just twice a month. So each in the day of the month and the 20th of the month. So it would be enough. Given that I don't have a service account, I cannot do it, but it would be great if you guys can do it. So we kind of put a go-to. We created a go-to for this. So go to Parm Spend. Users got to use that go-to. So go-to, and they kind of get into directly to the Parm spend dashboard. But I get refresh it manually. So I get my working copy, I refresh it here, and I delete the raw file here. I delete it, and afterwards I upload a new version with the same description. But if you guys can um, scale that automatic refresh, it would be great because yeah, I don't have the credential to do it. So it would be great to do it by keeping the or updated the go-to, um, taking care of that because a lot of users can do it. Also, a very good idea is to not having put it the dashboard in a location that doesn't doesn't request any authorization for access to the dashboard. Just to be open for all users that um, kind of visit the go-to. It would be great. It would be better. So I don't have that option according to my user access or permissions, but it would be great if you make it open to all users. Um, because today I kind of have have a long list of users that ask me for permission for access to the dashboard. But this is not the idea. The idea is dashboard to be open to all users that are interested on this kind of spend. So it would be great if you guys can do that. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Dominique. So not sure if I mentioned that before, but I'm leaving the company. I'm leaving the company. So this is my last week.
Okay.
Yeah. So let me know if you have any questions. I will try to give you some examples like this of some requests from users to update and how would be my response or how would I proceed. I would make sure that I would be clear enough to kind of describe the example for you to consider it. Um, yeah. So please feel free to reach out if you have any question or something because I will be available just this week. So feel free to do it, please.